They thought they were invisible. 4 engines screaming across the Pacific at 50 knots, $42 million under blue tarps, and 18 successful runs behind them. But this time, 2 hours before they even knew it, an HC-130J Super Hercules had already locked them in its radar. The smugglers thought speed guaranteed safety. What they didn't know was that they'd entered a kill box designed by satellites, radar, and precision optics, and it was already too late to escape. Before dawn, the HC-130J Super Hercules lifted from the runway with its radar already warming up and operators settling into their consoles. At altitude, the AN/APS-154 system unfolded its 200-mile electronic net across a dark stretch of Pacific water, reading every reflection, every irregular pulse from the sea's surface. For an hour, nothing differed from routine. Then a blip appeared near the edge of the scan, small, fast, and unlike anything expected in that sector. The algorithms recognized the pattern before human eyes did, calculating velocity profiles that didn't match any known fishing or research vessel. The contact was steady at more than 50 knots and carried no transponder identification. In the cabin, operators flagged it as an anomaly. The lack of an AIS signal was the first strike. Civilian traffic announces itself automatically to avoid collision. Silence means concealment. Radar data cycles compared each return, confirming consistent acceleration and heading. The system's detection software relies on historical traffic signatures stored from hundreds of previous patrols. Every second updated a chart of probabilities, and this one stayed outside every safe threshold. The aircraft kept distance, 140 miles from the surface contact, maintaining perfect observational advantage. The smugglers below had no hint of the surveillance above. They moved through morning haze, still believing the Pacific's emptiness shielded them. From the Hercules sensor station, the operator switched to the Star Sapphire 380 HDC camera, aligning its optics with the radar mark. The blurred dot turned into a boat with a sharp hull, 4 outboards aligned like metallic fins, and crew figures stepping between blue-covered cargo. Each motion streamed in real time to analysts on the ground, who logged details: 4 engines, tarp color, crew posture. What began as a flicker on a radar sweep now existed as verified visual intelligence. Every Coast Guard patrol uses a 3-strike framework to raise suspicion to certainty. The first is speed inconsistent with declared traffic. The second is silence, no signal, no registration. The last is behavior repetition, repeating a pattern used by known go-fasts on smuggling lanes. As the data stacked, the third condition formed naturally. The target held a calculated route north, running parallel to a corridor often used by illicit runners avoiding commercial radar nets. Inside the aircraft, analysts exchanged few words. They only needed confirmation from pattern analysis: route repetition logged, speed constant, transponder absent. The designation shifted from anomaly to active interdiction target. Back on the ocean, the Go-Fast's engines kept roaring, sending white spray behind their wake. The crew believed distance meant safety, but their entire path was now mapped in coordinates updated every 12 seconds. Analysts monitored fuel range, sea state, and possible refueling points. Nothing escaped the net that had quietly closed around them. From that moment, capture was inevitable. As they pushed north, unaware, each mile they gained was already known and measured, drawing them straight toward the waiting response forming below. Even before the Go-Fast crew heard a single rotor, 4 agencies were already sharing coded bursts across encrypted channels. Data from the HC-130J's sensors, streamed through Link 16, appeared on screens inside the Combat Information Center of the cutter Kimball. From there, it traveled in real time to the Joint Interagency Task Force South in Key West, where DEA analysts compared the contact to known cartel routes. Southcom data routers handled the flow, merging signals, imagery, and positional reports into one continuous operational picture. The process took seconds, yet represented years of coordination practice between organizations that rarely meet face-to-face. At 0945, the analysts saw behavior change. The Go-Fast, which had spent the morning weaving across open water, began running clean and straight toward the north. Inside the Kimball's operations room, that single shift drew concern. Straight-line travel can mean confidence or failure, a crew ready for rendezvous. or one that miscalculated fuel. The tactical coordinator logged the exact moment, knowing every minute mattered for interception distance. Predictive software on the Kimball servers began calculating a future coordinate, projecting where boat and helicopter paths would meet if fuel burn and velocity held constant. The data flows looked clinical on screens, colored cursors against blue grids, but each point represented motion at 50 knots across live ocean. Analysts in Florida watched calmly, their work silent and procedural, while the aircrew aboard the cutter moved with a different rhythm. On deck, ground crews unlashed the MH-65E Dolphin, its rotor tie-downs flapping against wind gusts. The pilots reviewed digital intercept vectors already beamed from the Kimball's CIC, waiting for the green release. Between the steady hum of electronics and the mechanical noise outside, patience and adrenaline operated in parallel, fused by the same data feed. Back at altitude, the HC-130J maintained orbit. Each radar sweep confirmed the vessel's unwavering path. That straight course completed the three-strike cue already marked earlier: excessive speed, silence on AIS, and now behavior repetition. Inside coordination chat lines, the language turned definitive: non-compliant target. With that classification, control shifted from analysis to execution. Tactical officers relayed encrypted approval chains through Southcom, the signal hopping from satellite to cutter in under 5 seconds. When command authorization arrived, the crew of the Kimball moved immediately. The Dolphin's engines fired, twin turbines spooling to life while maintenance teams cleared the deck. At 1100, the helicopter lifted, banking over gray water toward the predicted intercept point. The Go Fast remained unaware, running north as if safety lay somewhere ahead. But every movement now unfolded within a digital cage built by radar, algorithms, and coordination that stretched from the Pacific to Key West. The unseen trap was no longer forming, it was in full motion. The surface still seemed calm from above, but within minutes, the first acoustic warnings would cut through the sea air. By the time the smugglers heard the words United States Coast Guard, their engines were already marked targets on a digital firing slate. The MH-65E Dolphin held steady at 3,000 feet, its rotor wash flattening sections of the water. Below, the Go Fast's wake blurred white across the Pacific. Inside the helicopter, 2 gunners and a pilot worked in close rhythm, checking range and verifying clearance distance again. The aircraft stayed at a 500-meter standoff, far enough for safety, close enough for accuracy, while the crew switched the long-range acoustic device to broadcast mode. For 15 minutes, the LRAD cycled through warnings in English and Spanish. Visual strobes fired in sequence, followed by sirens that cut through wind and engine noise. Compliance would have ended it, yet none came. The smugglers clung to their throttles, pushing the 4 Mercury outboards to redline despite the echo of official commands rolling across the swells. Inside the cabin, the aircrew waited through each transmission interval. When the final call expired unanswered, the pilot requested escalation, and immediate authorization returned through the encrypted channel. Proceed with warning fire. The left side gunner braced behind the mounted M240B. Short, precise bursts placed tracers across the bow, each round sending geysers of spray in front of the speeding hull. The gun's deep rhythm filled the cabin, and the bright arcs were impossible to misread from the deck below. Still, the Go Fast didn't alter speed. Its operators either trusted luck or had nowhere else to go. After several bursts, the tactical logic was clear, non-compliant. The next step in the protocol activated: disabling fire. From the starboard window, the second gunner locked the Barrett M107 into its mounting arm. The rifle's long recoil chamber absorbed vibration while its optics linked to an infrared designator. At 853 meters per second, the 50 caliber round carried more than 11,000 foot-pounds of energy, enough to tear through aluminum engine blocks as though they were thin casing. The gunner read wind offset, adjusted 0.5 mil for drift, and opened fire. One crack echoed, then silence until the report reached the ocean. The round struck the starboard outer motor's power head. A flash of white steam erupted, and the Go Fast slowed from 50 knots to 38. Second shot, port outer engine disabled. Third, starboard inner engine seizing mid-cycle. Each impact translated into a measurable drop in speed and momentum. Within 90 seconds, the vessel fought just one sputtering motor, bow tilting unevenly as drag pulled it sideways. The fourth round ended it. The last Mercury engine fractured under impact, blades locking, exhaust venting smoke into open water. Drift replaced motion. One shot, one engine. The mantra fulfilled with mechanical precision. The helicopter held position overhead as the boat settled into stillness, cargo secure, crew motionless. Below, the Pacific carried only the sound of water against fiberglass. From horizon distance, tactical boats began closing in, guided by the coordinates already waiting in the system. Now the hunt moved from sky to sea. Technology, coordination, and patience decided the outcome long before the first warning call. The smugglers' 4 engines represented speed, but the Coast Guard's radar network represented certainty. Digital warfare ruled this chase, where algorithms and predictive models knew destination and timing before any human did. The modern ocean battlefield no longer belongs to the fastest, but to those who can see farthest and think ahead. This operation proved detection, and data are stronger than raw power. If you want more stories about how intelligence and precision shape maritime defense today, stay with us and subscribe for the next operational breakdown.